This month, Los Angeles is ground zero in the battle over wage theft, the practice of cheating workers out of pay they earned.
Some labor activists say LA is the wage theft capital of the U.S. And next week, the city council will begin consideration of proposed new laws to crack down on the practice.
KCAL9 political reporter Dave Bryan is live in Boyle Heights with the story. Dave.
Well, Lena, Sylvia, we talked to two restaurant workers here in Boyle Heights who say for years their checks were shorted to the tune of thousands, tens of thousands of dollars. Now they've reached a settlement in that case, but the issue has not been resolved. Juan Moran and Zumi Mizukami work in a prosperous Little Tokyo restaurant, and both have filed wage theft claims, which they say are now in the settlement process. They charged the restaurant, even raided the waiters' tips, and they were told to clock out at the end of their shift, but then required to keep working without pay.
We were being asked to work off the clock every night. I was asked to clock out before finishing my duties that were mandatory duties, so it wasn't like I had a choice. That was one thing. I also noticed that there was a percentage of tips that I was working for as a server that were being taken out of the pool before being redistributed to the employees.
And they say they hesitated to complain, fearing retaliation, which did come.
Yes, I was kind of afraid, totally. One of those things that goes through your mind and see how bad it's gonna get, in the future. What if I do this and they cut me hours to try to push me out, figure out a way to, kick me out.
Oh. So they did try to retaliate.
Yeah.
Moran and Mizukami are now activists with a group called Restaurant Opportunity Center of Los Angeles, or ROC LA for short. And according to a new Labor Department study in California and New York, low-wage workers are especially vulnerable to wage theft. The study, as reported by the New York Times, found more than 300,000 workers in California suffered minimum wage violations each month in 2011. Nationwide, more than 2 million workers were paid less than the federal or state minimum wage in 2011. And the study found there were costs to taxpayers as well. As a result of the wage violations, school meal programs spent an additional $15.6 million in California, feeding the children of workers who would not have been eligible for the free meals if their parents had been paid in full at work. And annual spending on food stamps rose by nearly $11 million in California because of the violations, according to the study.
If somebody walks into a store and steals, they go to jail, they get convicted. You steal from an employee and you get away with it, that's the wrong message.
Maria Elena Durazo is the executive secretary-treasurer of the LA County Labor Federation. She says the employers who are engaged in such practices are often taking advantage of workers who, for a variety of reasons, are afraid to complain.
I know there was a study in Los Angeles, something like $26 million a week in reported violations of getting less than minimum wage, not the overtime they're owed.
Well, some labor activists say it's not just low-wage workers who are affected by this. They say middle-class workers are, in some cases, working overtime for free as well. And they say, as you heard in the report, that taxpayers are being taken to the tune of millions of dollars providing free services for workers who should be paid more than they're actually taking home. Next week, a committee in the LA City Council takes up the issue. We're live in Boyle Heights. Dave Bryan, KCAL9 News.